it's important to push all the way through the premise and not be afraid of it. Not be afraid of pushing all the way through. What do I mean by that? Well, you're talking about romantic comedy. One that my favorite one is the first one that was a talkie. The first talkie romantic comedy ever made. It's worth seeing if you haven't seen it. It's called Trouble in Paradise. It's 1932. Ernst Lubitsch directed, Samson Raphaelson wrote it. And here you have a love triangle, and you have a couple, a man and a woman, who are madly in love at the beginning, and they are also partners in crime. They're jewel thieves. And they get an opportunity to rob a rich heiress, a widow. And she's got money. It all takes place in Paris. She's got lots of money. She's got suitors. And the main character, is very charming. And he sees an opportunity to work for her. And by working for her, he can get access to her money and steal it. Okay? So that's the plan. But the problem is that she's attractive. And he uses his sexuality to manipulate her to get the job. But during the course of the story, he's falling in love with her. So I remember I read that script before I saw the movie because it was not available when I first read that script. It was some legal problem. So, and this was before VHS, and it was you couldn't get this movie. So I read it, and I remember reading it, and by the third act, by the late part of the movie, I had no idea how they were going to get out of this, because the story had turned from that simple main tension. You ask the main question, main dramatic question that unifies a story. It's basically a character wants something, there's obstacles, it implies a question. Will they get what they want? In this case, it's very simple. The couple wants to rob this woman. And we're going to know if they succeed by the end. Are they going to succeed or not? But the complication is that he's falling in love with the target. And what does that do to the relationship? And people are starting to figure out that they're thieves, who their real identities are. And there's two sides closing in, plus the one that they're stealing from, and then the main character's lover realizes that he's falling in love with her, and she's furious, and everything is coming together at the end. And I'm telling you, you watch that movie, you're not going to know how they get out of it. How did they do it so it's not predictable? They let him fall in love with her. They weren't afraid of that. And then they explore that implication. What is it like for this man who had this plan and had a love of his life? What is it like when he falls in love with somebody else? And they took the time to explore it. And then you get the ending that students who were born how many years after that movie was made are cheering at the end. They're thrilled by the ending. So the answer, how do you avoid the predictability? Push through it and show us possibilities that aren't there, and don't be afraid to not be predictable, to make it something that we don't finally expect. So that's one way. Okay.